I'm here with Yasmin Mattox, and I'm going to find out about the architect behind Arkatecht. What is Arkatecht?
Arkatecht refers to a couple of things.
Okay.
The company's mission is to help women with integratively planning for family and career. So for as long as women have been officially in the workforce, so we're talking about 50 or 60 years, there's been a big push for us to do our best in the workplace. Unfortunately, however, we have not also focused on the fact that the vast majority of women who are in the workplace become mothers. And so how do you appropriately plan for your career and for being a mother so that the two converge, the two goals converge rather than separate?
But what were the steps? Like,
The
you're just sitting there and you're seeing all this going, you're like, I see there's a problem. I have a solution to that problem.
I am very analytical, perhaps
Okay.
to a fault, because my husband kind of says I'm something like a robot. Okay?
Okay.
So
Okay,
I can be
okay.
very analytical, but I can also be very driven and passionate. And in terms of steps, I had to really temper myself from just going full hog and saying, you know what, I'm gonna develop this software. We're gonna get out there. We're gonna spend thousands of dollars that we probably shouldn't until we figure out that there's an actual problem. So I just made use of free resources, local universities, local colleges, courses that people were offering on how to conduct market research specific to what you want to do and to actually figure out if there's an issue. So in terms of steps or processes, I'd say the first thing you need to do is really speak to people to see not so much what you think their problems are or their grievances, but just speak to them, have a general idea of what you want to talk about, but then really fish, essentially. See what they bring out, see what they complain about. Humans are much more likely to talk to you about their grievances than about what really pleases them, because we're always subconsciously trying to problem solve. We're trying to use that intellect that sets us apart from all other creatures on this planet. If aspiring entrepreneurs really dig deep and focus first on the connections with other people and listening to their grievances, 9 times out of 10, I'm confident to say that they will find something that they can bring to market.
What was the day or the moment you said, I'm going to start Arkatecht, and I'm going to call it Arkatecht?
We did our LLC filing on February 24th of last year.
Okay.
I knew about 2 weeks before that, because that was a Friday, and I knew at that point that I was comfortable investing pretty much bi-weekly, a part of my paycheck into this company. I realized that if I didn't want to pony up the money, nobody else would. Forget about, potential for venture capital down the road. If I wasn't going to have some skin in the game, nobody was going to take me seriously.
That's right.
And so I did my own due diligence for my own protection and that of my family's, because when you do have a family and you're an entrepreneur, the stakes are much higher.
Yes.
And so once I worked that out and I was comfortable enough to jump in, I just started, doing bi-weekly funds transfers for Arkatecht. And so that's when I knew. Initially, I've been more concerned with making sure that I have the right stuff. One of the key factors in whether a startup succeeds or fails is not so much the idea, but their team. Discord, disharmony within founding teams is legendary. And you can have an amazing product market fit, perfect timing, but if the team isn't in sync, then it all falls apart, much like romantic relationships. So we are now at the point where we need some talent. A year ago, that wasn't the situation, so I'm glad that I've taken a longer road than others may have.
How did you know you wanted to work with these people? Even as independent contractors, what about them made you say, I want to work with you and I want to work with you?
There's something about intuition,
Okay.
especially in business. I had looked at maybe over 100 profiles of designers. They all had great portfolios, but I never got anything that made me have any, butterflies. But for this particular person's profile, there was no portfolio, there was no artwork, there was nothing except for the reviews. And all of the reviews spoke not so much of the end product that she delivered to her clients, but her genuine interest in the projects, her communication abilities, and ultimately her intellectual curiosity. I look for people who want to listen more than they want to talk, because you can learn far more by just sitting back and observing than you ever can by talking. For the most part, those are key things that I look for.
How would be someone watching right now who wants to start their own business? How do you do that when you don't have much capital? They don't have much money.
I would tell them that sweat equity is a beautiful thing. Most people, some of the most successful, just had sweat equity. Certainly they didn't have tons of cash. I would point out the example of what's called jugaad in India, which is essentially a term that means hack, which is to say that you do not need capital, you do not need funds. The only thing that you need is curiosity. You need to have enough direction and wherewithal to find a problem. You need to have enough good sense to know that you do not know everything, and to not just blindly put your money into something until you've done your due diligence. And so for people who say, well, I don't have enough money, you don't need the money initially. You need the problem, you need research, and you need to figure out what the solution is. And then from there, you move forward. The whole thing about life is that it's full of choices. You can have it all, you can do it all, but you can't do it all and have it all at the same time. And so you have to plan your time very well so that you get everything you want in.
What are some life hacks that'll help me do that better?
I think the biggest one is always really listen to and observe your kids. Kids are phenomenally brilliant in their own right. Obviously, very little kids have not had formal education, but they've had enough real-world observation to pick up some critical information that helps them problem solve. There's a wealth of research for decades now that shows that those with the best potential intellectually, it's not us, okay? Because we get bogged down in our ways, societal conditioning, etc. But little kids, when you look at babies and how they interact with each other and how they learn, there's a lot of potential there. So what I often do with my own girls is sometimes when I'm really frustrated with something, I'll just observe them and watch how they handle things. And then I'll try to my best ability to incorporate that into what I'm doing to problem solve for adult problems.
That's a big one. You're right, because even me thinking now of my niece and my nephew, they'll be mad or upset for a second, but then they let it go and they move on to the next, which a lot of us, and I know a lot of you at home as well, watching or at work or on the treadmill, we know you watch us when you work out. You sit there and you're bogged down with problems you've had or issues that have gone on in your life. We should be like the kids and kind of let it go. Just hearing more of your story and your practices, research. Even on yourself,
yes.
You're always doing
Yes.
critical analysis, even on yourself. I see you.
Observe everything.
So
yes.
your kids aren't going to get away with nothing. I have a feeling you're all over everything. You saw the change? Did you all see the change? I saw. Well, Yasmin, thank you so much for spending time with us at Humans. We appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.